What's up, guys? Iceman here. So today I wanted to talk about a few things. And I know some of you aren't going to be in agreement with me on these topics, okay? On my stance on these topics. And I'm curious, if that's the case, let me know in the comments below. Granted, I probably think your opinion's bullshit, and I'll state why in a moment, but I'm still curious what you dogs have to say. So, first off, I know that there was a supposed leak about potential new rune words being added to the upcoming ladder reset for Diablo 2 Resurrected. What do you guys think about that? Do you want new rune words added to our beloved Diablo 2? Granted, there's been some changes in D2R that not many of us really like all that much, right? And I don't really need to get into the details right now about those things. I bitched about them plenty of times in the past. Check out my previous videos if you want to hear some on that. But nonetheless, I recognize how a lot of us hardcore Diablo 2 players, I don't know what you want to call it, a lot of us who are seasoned Diablo 2 players, we have maybe progressed into playing modded versions of Diablo 2, like Project Diablo 2, for example. In Project Diablo 2, they actually have, they have a couple rune words that never really made it to Diablo 2. And those rune words are fun to mess around with. There's Plague, and you can make it in whatever weapon you want it, even in Assassin's Claw. So it gives you 2-to-all skills. It pierces enemy poison resistances by a lot, and it casts low resist when you get hit. A 25% chance to cast low resist or something like that. So game-changing things, right? If you're a Wake of a Fire Assassin or a Lightning Trap Assassin, you really take advantage of that, especially pre-Infinity. But that's just one example. But of course the concern would be, can Activision come up with what we would consider to be good rune words that add to the game without taking away from it? That's a very important question to ask, because these aren't the original devs here. These aren't the seasoned veterans who love Diablo 2 making this stuff. These are basically people who were the lowest bids, you know what I mean? It just outsourced and all that bullshit. So I don't know if they're going to be able to make it the way we want it to be, but there's a chance, right? There's a chance, and maybe they'll even consider our feedback. And I actually have a few ideas of what should maybe be changed or added to items that are currently in D2R that I think would make it a better game. I'll probably be making videos on that in the future, so stay tuned. But here's another thing, and I know this is a big deal, because a lot of you dogs aren't going to like this, but I'm going to explain to you my reasoning as to why I think it's a good fucking idea. No, I don't mean to be a dick, I'm just messing around, but here's the bottom line, okay? Real money auction house. So, remember how they did it with Diablo 3. I was optimistic when it was announced. In fact, I made maybe about $200 on that shit. So my logic was, wow, I paid for this game already using the Real Money Auction House. Now, I never bought anything that I could use, because you guys know Ice Toad, for the most part, likes to be immersed in the experience. So I try. A lot of you guys offer me handouts in game, and yeah, I've taken a few, but for the most part, I like to progress and find the shit on my own, because that's what the game's all about, is finding good shit. And once you have all the good shit, as far as I see it, it gets boring. And then I quit until the next ladder reset. So if there were a Real Money Auction House in D2R, I don't think I'd use it to buy an item for myself ever. I would sell shit on it occasionally. I probably would barely sell shit on it. Here's how I would take advantage of it, is being a Diablo 2 YouTuber or whatnot. A lot of you guys give me a bunch of shit. Items, meaning, like, you give me runes, you give me this and that, and I don't want to use them, so I just hand them out sometimes to strangers. I just make public games and throw that shit on the ground. I got a couple decent videos out of it. But what if this shit were implemented into D2R and maybe even D4, where I could then sell that shit and make some money? So if you guys want to help out Ice Boy, give me all your shit. I don't want to use it because that, I think, ruins the game experience, but I'll sell that shit and make money. Now, I probably shouldn't have started my reasoning for this real money auction house with that example. That's a bad example because a lot of you guys are like, that's fucked up, Iceman. You just want to take advantage of this to make some money. But here's the reality, okay? And this is the first reason as to why I originally thought it was a great idea to maybe implement real money auction house into D2R and into Diablo 4. It's because people are already buying this shit on all these third-party websites. So really what this does is it works to the detriment of those who are trying to play by the rules, because I don't think you're supposed to do that, right? You're not supposed to sell those items in third-party websites or make any money on them. Of course, it was all fair game when Blizzard had it implemented into the game itself in Diablo 3. Like I said, I made some money on that real money auction house, and it was kind of fun. But people are already doing it anyway. So there's a few things that we have to address here. Like, what they tried in Diablo 3 later then was just to make all items bind on equip, because they knew people were finding the shit and trading it and making money anyway after they got rid of the auction house. They were like, so let's just make all the good shit bind on equip. And you only have like 1 hour to trade it with anyone who's in your party at the time in the same game. And that's it. So it basically took trading away. World of Warcraft seemed to have found kind of a healthy medium, I think, because they had some endgame items that were bind on equip, but many of the items were tradable, and they actually have an in-game auction house. It's not real money, but it's an in-game auction house, which is maybe another thing that should be considered. But the thing is, dog, all these sites that sell shit for money, I mean, even on Project Diablo 2, even on all these weird mods of Diablo 2, if there's a mod for it and there's a player base, there's a website you can go on and buy that shit. And the worst part, I think, is that a lot of that stuff is botted, because that's something that I really don't like about Diablo 2 and the servers and all that, is the fact that bots seemingly tend to flourish on them. And there might never be any getting rid of that. And as far as I see it, you know, we just have to live with it. And partly that's why I just like to find my own gear in general anyway. Because, yeah, the bots are going to saturate the hell out of the market, and you could end up trading for shit for super cheap later on because there's just so many items that are available to purchase. And then the player base declines, so you have an influx in items and a deflux in player base. So it really saturates the hell out of the market. But yeah, that's the truth, man, is you can already go and buy that shit everywhere else. And it's kind of like the drug cartel. You know, this is really a system that incentivizes not following the rules if you want to, say, attain items quickly or make some money on them and things like that. It basically incentivizes the criminals. So why the fuck wouldn't Activision, or whatever the hell they are now, just be like, okay, they're doing it anyway, and the folks who want to play legit aren't able to make any money at all. Let's try to centralize this market a little bit and just have it implemented in our system. And that's not to say these third-party sites can't exist anymore, because they will, but at least Blizzard would be taking some of the cut, in which case, I think, if they're making a steady income with D2R out, let's say, and D4, then it'll incentivize them to continue working on it and to continue giving us more content if they have this steady stream of income from all these items and in-game transactions being made. Because of course how it would work, I think, is Blizzard would take a cut. In Diablo 3 it was actually surprisingly quite a small cut. I think they took like 10% of the transactions. So you sell something for $100, you make 90 of it, and you only got to give Blizzard $10. So I thought that was quite generous on their behalf. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. I know initially, man, it sounds fucked up, okay? And I agree. I never liked the idea. I really don't like the idea of buying the items to use them, because I never fucking do that. I mean, who hasn't done that back in the day, right? When we were young or whatever, when the game came out. You know, who hasn't bought themselves a Grief or a Breath of the Dying or, you know, an Annie Charm or whatnot, maybe once or twice. Who hasn't spent a couple $100 on in-game items like ever? But outside of that, you know, I really despise the idea of buying shit with real money to use it on my character, because like I said, the game revolves around finding the fucking gear, and once you have it all, I feel like it just loses its appeal entirely, where you just quit. So I wouldn't take advantage of it in that way anyway. However, I know what's going on whether I like it or not. So in my unusual situation where I just have a massive amount of people who just want to give me their gear, you know, I could see taking advantage of that. I could sell this shit and make some money. I think that would be nice. But even if that weren't the case, say that I didn't stream or make videos at all on Diablo 2 and there was no one ever who ever wanted to give me gear, I would still see this as a thing they should do. Because like I said, it incentivizes Activision or whoever the fuck's making the games now to continue putting forth good content, because it incentivizes them to want to produce a good game for us to continually play. And what they need for that is some sort of monetization, because there is none outside of just straight up buying the game. So I think that it's going on anyway. You know what I'm saying? All that shit's going on anyway, whether we like it or not. So Blizzard might as well take it as their own, to where the people who want to follow the rules can take advantage of it as well if they want to. Now, here's what I think would be a good idea going forward, is have some super endgame items be bind on equip. Like maybe my camera battery's about to die. I gotta finish this video up. But have some items that are bind on equip. Like maybe Hellfire Torch, for example. It's just too easy to get right now through trade. However, it's a long task to get one on your own. You got to make a smiter and shit. And it's rewarding to do that, but it's been a long time since I've done it myself. But have some items that are bind on equip, and have many other items that you can just trade off and as many times as you want. Those are the items that we could throw up on an auction house. But yeah, let me know what your opinions are on this. Like the video if you will. Become a subscriber. Become a patron if you want. Blessings toward my patrons. May your finances prosper, and may you have many wives. Peace with you.